Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, we just want to take this wonderful moment to welcome you to our day's talk. Now, before we start, it's important that I introduce those who are in the panel with me to discuss a few topics here and there. So today I have my brother here, engineer
Benjamin Tian,
and engineer,
and brother Joseph Mkoyali.
Okay. I am Alan Wanyonyi. Thank you so much for being with us. I want to thank the Lord for this wonderful moment that He gave unto us. And the topic of today we'll talk about is homicide. Now, this is something that is taking place in Kenya at the moment. In our country, each and every day, in the newspapers, in the television, we are seeing people killing one another at a rate that has never happened before. In fact, it has become like the order of the day. Now, the question we should be asking ourselves, what has happened? What has gone wrong? So, to explore this and be able to go through this, I have a few members here. So, they're going to see how best to go tackle this. And we look at the solutions that we can be able to offer to you who is outside there, listen to us, so we can help whoever it may come to you for help, so that at least we have a better place to live in. Because I don't believe this is what Christ purposed for us, or this is what God had given us to be able to have as a good life. So this has gone to a level where we cannot be able to just sit and watch, but we have to go take part and see how best we can help, be able to help you and me. I might be one of them. I could be talking about it, but tomorrow you never know what will happen. So what is the best way that we can be able to come to solve this problem? So just to start us off, I'll be able to ask my brother Benjamin, what do you think is the main cause to this problem that you're having at this particular moment, where we have people taking people's life like other people are chicken? Because the way it is that we don't value life anymore. Karim.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. First of all, you have to understand that for you to solve a problem, you need to go back to the root cause. The root cause, we need to understand the root cause of why homicides are so many, or why people are killing each other. So one of the major causes, I think, that causes this is that people live with a lot of expectation. Maybe somebody goes to a marriage with a lot of expectation, expecting that so and so is going to provide to another level, or when I do see this kind of business, I'm going to reach the kind of levels that the society needs to expect from me. But they end up being disappointed. They end up being disappointed because of the pressures that come with these expectations. Like you find that people who are in acting industry, they always live a fake life. Why do they do so? Because their audiences expect a lot from them. People do not expect that an artist lacks money. People do not expect that an artist can lack rent, or people do not expect that this person can be going hungry. So because of pleasing people, because of the pressure that comes with expectation, these people find themselves in a situation where they develop stress and depression, in a situation where they cannot meet the kind of pressure that is coming from people that they are trying to please. So my advice to anybody that is trying to make the expectations to be reached, I'm giving you an advice today that your life is yours, and you're supposed not to bow down to these expectations, maybe from a marriage, maybe from your audience. Live your life, be yourself, and know that you have the next life to live, and things always go changing. Maybe Brother Joseph can add something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. The issue about people murdering one another anyhowly, it has taken another course. Now they don't value the life of one another. And the way my brother has just said is because of people are expecting a lot from one another. Maybe you have a job, and many people are just looking onto you. They want you to provide for them food. They want you to provide them clothing, but inside yourself, maybe the job you're doing is not even able even to take care of yourself. So you end up stressing yourself. Then some people will decide, say, no, it's enough, I cannot continue maybe supporting this family. I would rather even kill myself and leave everything so that they should not continue disturbing me. So sometimes we put a lot of pressure to our children, we put pressure to our wives, we put pressure to our husband. At the end of the day, they are stressed beyond, they cannot recover, because they ask themselves, if such a thing is being demanded from me and I'm not able to do it, what will I do? And that's why even some of us end up going to steal so that they can fulfill that style of life. So the solution is that according to the word of God, the Bible talks about we should live according to our means, according to our standards. We should not do beyond the things that we don't have in our means. Like now, for example, you are supposed to have a house, maybe you are renting a house of 2,000 shillings and you want to rent a house of 5,000 and you have said you're getting 10,000 shillings. You see, at the end of the day, which means you will be remaining with 5,000. These 5,000 cannot be able to buy food, clothing for your children, and then take your children to school. So if you could have paid maybe a house of 2,000, despite maybe that house of 2,000 is not maybe what your standard, but you have at least a shelter. But because of you going to a bigger house, a house that you cannot be able to meet the rent, it will force you now to look for other means to get money. If you don't get the money, you'll be stressed out. When you are stressed out, you see, a human being has a very short memory. He can decide to do anything. So me, I advise my brothers and sisters that let us cut our coat according to our size. Let us not go beyond what we expect, and let us not do things so that we are pleasing our parents, our spouses, our children, our friends, our neighbors. No. If you see your neighbor has bought a car, don't rush. We also want to buy a car. You don't know how he has gotten the money to buy that car. Maybe he's doing some other means. Maybe some people are doing wash to get money so that they can buy cars. And you are working genuinely. Your salary is enough. It's enough salary, but you cannot even save it to buy the same car. So you'll want to force yourself to buy that car. And at the end of the day, you might end up doing something which is not worth it for you to before the eyes of God.
All right, thank you so much. So what I've been able to understand is that all of us, we're supposed to understand, let us live within our means. Now, one thing that has come out very clear is that most of us do things because we want to be look relevant. That means we cannot be able to put up a face against what we are passing through. So it's important that we realize that now you are living a life of your own. So let not other people come up to bring up or make you make decisions which are not what is expected. Why? It's because most of us, when we give up in life, we end up doing the wrong things. So you find that most people who end up killing other people is because they've given up in life. Okay? So they either kill themselves and kill other people so that now life becomes meaningless or something like that. Now, just to also to consider the same situation. Now I just want you to take me through, because on the same note, as much as we're talking about people killing others, so many people are disappearing. And when at the end of it all, you find that they've been murdered, right? So could this be the same cause that bring these particular problems, or what? What do you think is the main cause of people disappear, and then after 2-3 days you find they've been murdered? Or is it a cult that is cropping up? So we need to be able to understand what could be the cause at this particular point.
Thank you so much. In the beginning, I talked about living a fake life, and maybe you should also talk about the social media life. You find that people have gone in the social media and they have seen that some people are living some kind of life that they are not the life that they feel that is the best life. Now somebody may feel that he's being left behind, and you want to copy. So somebody or people should refrain from copying what people are doing in the social media, because when you go to the reality, that is not the case. So you find that to answer your question about why people are disappearing, why people are getting murdered, because of these pressures, people want to meet the expectation of the social media, or people want to live the standards that they see in the movies. People end up getting into behaviors that are not moral. Like you find people may go to steal, people may practice those wash, like my brother was saying. And because of that, they enter some questionable business deals. And out of these deals, you find that some of these deals don't go right. Some of them lead to murder, because you find that, because they always say that when the morsel is too good, you're supposed to be careful. Or when the business, or when the deal is too good, you're supposed to think twice. So because of this, you find that people get into dubious businesses that lead to murder. Or people, you find that when money comes, women also come. And because of women and money, people murder each other. And before you realize it, you find that maybe they were after another woman, or maybe their business did not go in the correct way. And out of this, you find that people murder themselves, or people murder others because they want to hide the evidence, they want to hide justice. So these are cases that is very common, and unless people go back to their morals, unless people go back to the standards that are required by the society, the correct virtues that are required for us in the society, then I don't see us having solved this problem. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. So you heard about it. Now, as I just put it right, now because of the deals that are going wrong, why are those deals there? Everybody wants a quick deal to fix things very fast, and we're not taking time to be patient, to understand what life is all about. Just to go to my brother Joseph, maybe on the same note. Now, you've just been told about people losing their morals. Now, what do you think is the best, and why is it that people are losing those morals? Because these things never used to occur a long time ago as much, okay? But now where we are, it has taken another turn that every other day, in fact, it is the order of the day that you have to hear somebody has murdered somebody somewhere. What is happening? Is it that the society has lost the moral value, or there's something in social fabric that has been detached, or what is basically, do you think is the problem, and what do you think is the best solution for this?
Thank you, my brother. I think the last word you have spoken is the right word. The fabric of the social, the family of the society has been destroyed. I remember, you see, you're talking about the previously or behind the, maybe some 10 years, 20 years or 30 years there, people used not to murder one another. Why? Because we lived in a society whereby your child is a child of the community. Therefore, your child was supposed to be brought up by the community. When he reaches a certain level of age, if he's a young man, he's taken to his uncle. The uncles are supposed to train that child to become mature if he was a young man. If he's a girl, the aunties that were there, they were supposed to train this girl to become a mature and a responsible lady. So that by the end of the day, because this aunt will want this child or the niece to have values in the society, and also the aunt wants to have this nephew to have values in the society, and that's why when they grew up, they would always want to emulate their character of their families. They want to show the same status of the society, and therefore we used not to have such things, because they will train you murder is bad. The society our parents used to teach us that murder was bad, but nowadays as we speak, we have parents who are they call it .com parents. They bring up their children in using the phone, using the TikTok, they use the Instagram and the video, and they most of the time they leave the students the children to stay at home. They're not to stay at home, to stay in schools. Because when you remember how many were there boarding school in the year, maybe the year 1980, it might maybe 10 or 20 boarding schools in Kenya. Why? Most schools were day school. So the students were used to go to school and come back at home. When they come back at home, parents were there. They were supposed to teach their children's proper values. They were supposed to engage them in work so that the children can even also learn how to prepare food for themselves. But as we speak now, even there's our children, young girls who are over 20 years, they cannot even cook. Even young men who are over 20, they cannot even cut a tree and even plant a tree. Why? Because we have destroyed the fabric of the society because of the Western life. We are now using the social media the way my brother was talking. The things that we see on social media, we want to transfer them into the real life, which is not going to be, it cannot be reality. Therefore, the solution is that we are supposed to go back to our roots as Africans. Because it does not mean that when we call ourselves Africans, we are outdated, we are living in the Stone Age. No. As an African, because that's why God created us to be Africans, so that we can create our own values, our own virtues, so that even the other nation of the world can copy from us. You see, when we don't have such values, that's why where the society becomes disengaged. Because when you talk about murder, and especially in our society like today, you see, a parent is supposed to take care of his children. But now, parents, we are no longer there for our children. We are only there, we are always rushing here and there, looking for food, looking for money, but on the expense of our children lacking the basic and fundamental values that without even those fundamental values, even if he has money, he has cars, that child will not live longer. Because why? The way my brother was talking, he will rush into wash business because he wants to get more money. But when that child has some basic training on the values of human being, values of a society, good character, he will not rush into that. He knows that time will come when I will get such a money. Because like now, let us talk an issue that at the age of 20, 25, someone is a billionaire. Ask yourself, where did this man get billions? Because when you go through studies, you will only finish at the most generally finish at the age of 17. At the age of 17, they go maybe to college another 4 years. That's around 20. Then after 4 years, they can tarmac for another 1 year. That's maybe 21. Then when they get a job, they'll get a job of internship, 2 years. Maybe they are given 20,000. Then after 20,000, maybe they will increase to 50. Then how, even if it's business, because even if business, you cannot do a business and get millions within 2 years. It can't work. So we need to ask ourselves, where are these people getting this money? So that we go into details and find out so that we can solve this problem. Because some people are doing dubious business, the way my brother says, then when the deal becomes sour, or if somebody discovers this one is going to expose the deal, he's murdered.
Thank you so much. Those were with us. As you heard, it's very important for us to understand the values and the morals that we have in our society. We are supposed to be able to go back to them. And one thing that has come out very clearly is that most of us want quick fix things. Now, these quick fix things are the ones that bring problems, because if for sure we are supposed to be able to lead a life that we are supposed to we are supposed to grow, then let us be able to grow. Growth takes time. It's not something that we'll be able to grow like a magic bean, right? It takes time from the time of sprouting all the way until it grows, and then the time of fruiting comes, because those are the processes that are supposed to be there. So we need to be able to understand that. And if we do that, then I think this issue of people murdering one another will be able to reduce. Now, why we are saying it's going to reduce, because now, if we are able to change, to mean all of us change, then it will be normal. But those who are still hell-bent for that, then we are saying we can be able to reduce to a minimum level if that is the case. Just to finish us off, the last question that I want to put across is that now we've seen most of the people, okay, it's because of the desire to get quick money, or they want to live a life of which is not theirs. But now, when you look at it at this particular moment, how are we going to help these people who are living a fake life to come out of this fake life that they're living in? What do you think you should be able to advise such a person?
Thank you so much. You find that when somebody is living a fake life, you need to ask yourself, how did it start? Even in the Bible, you remember the story of Abel and Cain. This thing started with envy. For somebody to live a fake life, he saw somebody prospered. He never even bothered to do research on how this so and so did this. So he started envying the kind of life that the person is having. And before he realizes this, he finds himself in doing things that are not upholding the moral values of the society. So we need to ask ourselves that before you bow down to the pressures that come with all this pressure, all this problem, you must question the source of everything that you're doing, or the source of whatever kind of maybe the property. How did this man arrive at having this kind of property? Was he working? Was he a thief? Was he a corrupt baron or a drug baron? So people do a lot of things, but they don't ask the kind how the money came, or how the wealth was acquired, or maybe somebody is in. I understand nowadays there's Illuminati, or somebody is doing devil worship and is doing sacrifice and is getting money. So first of all, you need to get into the root and how somebody does his things before you start envying the kind of property that that person has. Maybe my brother can add something about it.
Well, you just correct there. We don't even don't go even envying, because one thing, envy becomes dangerous, because once you start envying, you start bringing in pressure in you, because you want to. Okay, fine, it might be genuine, but you want also to scale the same standard. At the end of the day, when pressure enters in your life, you get diseases. When you get diseases, you don't want to get the right thing. You're not getting what you want. You can even commit suicide. So finally, I will just say, society is built on religion. The churches and every other religion are supposed to take their rightful share and stand in the society to teach, because I believe every person in this nation, you can either belong to church, to certain religion, or another religion, or you are just there. If you are just there like an atheist or animist, those who believe in spiritists, you still have your people at where you come from. You still have your parents. You still have elders in your society. They can still guide you. But the best thing for us to do is that church leaders needs to educate people on what children or young men are supposed to expect as they move out into the world, so that these young men should not be under pressure to get more wealth, so that they can live the high-end life which is not there.
Thank you so much. But now there's a burning question that has come up, and an issue that I think we should address it very quickly before we finish. Now, this issue, as we've talked about, this idea of pressure. Now, when you go to church and the pastor only preaches about the blessings and the blessings, you get $1 million today, you sow a seed, right? And for sure, people are sowing. Some of them, why we are sowing is that because we want what? We want to get what? Blessed very quickly. What do we have? Now, if, for example, I get a minister of God who comes and says he is able to perform miracles for you to be able to move from where you are, they say from what? Grace to grace, right? Within minutes. Most of us will flock there. Don't you think even some of us as people who are able to talk about the word of God are also promoting that? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a very right question. And that's why you see such people who promise people heaven on earth. Eh? I think there are people who have not undergone training. These are people who claim God has given them a gift and they want to go into the ministry without doing research on the Bible, studying the Bible, asking themselves. Because when you read the Bible, it clearly tells us that a little slumber brings poverty. It has not told us that a little not giving in the house of God brings poverty. No, you have to work for you to get whatever you require. And that's why the Bible talks about, I will bless the work of your hands. So these are false doctrine, these are agnostic Christians who bring false teachings in the house of God. Because when you talk about, I'll bring 10,000, I'll pray for you today, tomorrow you're going to get a car, those are demonic teachings. It's not spiritual teaching. Because how? Even God himself never promises to such a kind of life. If it was there, such a kind of life, I don't think even those pastors will be working. Because what should they do? They just say, God, let people get saved. Then they get saved. But why do those pastors also, they go down to their knees, they pray, they fast, so that when they go and preach the gospel, that gospel has impact to those people. They are working. So issue of pastors, and in most cases the way you are saying, it's true. Even these people, young men who are suffering, because they have also pressure from the religious setup, where religious goes, these priests and the pastors and the so-called servants of God, they go out to tell people, I want you to bring 10,000. I will pray for you tomorrow. You will get a job. So this young man will go out and do all sorts of things to get that money and bring in the house of God. And because these people, house of God, they don't care where you are getting your money. To them, so long as money has come on the table, they don't care whether you are going to suffer. And in most cases, tell me of anyone who gave out money and the next day he got a car. I will tell you none, unless those are demonic spirits which are offering such things. Because to God, everything that you acquire, it's supposed to have to go through pain. Because even Jesus Christ himself, before he gave us this victory on the cross, it was painful. It took him years. It took him time. He had to torture for him to give us that leeway to get that blessing. Otherwise, I think those are what we call false teachings, and most pastors need to go back to class to be taught on how to preach the gospel.
You, my brother, can be able to say something.
Maybe to add on that, you see these pastors, these fake pastors, let me call them fake pastors. These people have done their research and they have found that nowadays, Christians of nowadays, they focus on where they can get solutions to their problems. But they have shifted their focus from the Lord, from God. They have failed to realize that when you want something from God, you're supposed to trust in God, you're supposed to be patient, you're supposed to practice all the ways of God, so that something comes.
And will be support you there.
Yeah.
You see, when God blessed the Israelites, he told them, you are going to the land of honey and milk.
Yeah.
Did they just go there and found honey and milk there?
It was not so. So they even when I go through that route, it took time, it took pain. They went through a lot. Some even died on the way before they reached Canaan. So Christians of nowadays, you are supposed to not to focus on the problem that you are facing, but focus on your Maker. Tell him that you want this. Read your Bible properly, and because when you don't do that, you remember these pastors of nowadays, that they are sheep that are covered by there are wolves that are covered by sheepskin. So when you give them this chance, they will realize that you are vulnerable to them, and that is where they will tell you that they have quick fix for your problem, and before you realize it, you have started giving your 10,000 to get a car tomorrow, and you have left the basic Christian values that you are being even taught in nursery school or in Sunday schools. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, wherever you are. I think we've been able to explore as much as we can, but time is against development. Why? Because there's so much we could able to talk about, because it's very important that we understand. Now, we've seen very, very important issues that are cropping up. Now, the society is losing direction just because we are not taking our part as religious parents. Let us play our part. Let us educate our children so that when they come out of there, they know what is expected of them. Now, those people who have been given the chance to be able to lead others in Christian life, or as church leaders, or any other religious leaders, please do your part the way it's supposed to be, because at the end of it, all of us shall be able to be accounted for what we did. And when you're losing lives like this and you're not taking care of it, then there's something wrong. Because most of us even are not even taking the initiative of seeing how best to be able to work it out. And then for each and every one of us, please, it's important that you attend psychological teachings, okay, so that you are brought up in a way that you understand what life is all about, okay? Because these are things that you're going to face as an individual, and because you as an individual, you're facing such problems here and there, problems are about to come, right? That one I cannot cheat you. There's no life you just live without problems. But since the problems are going to come, which is the best way for you to be able to do it? So please, each and every one of us, let us play our part so that we can be able to have a better society than we are living in at this particular moment. And for that, I want to thank you for having been with us. Until next time, say bye-bye.